Hi everybody and welcome back to Riptide. We are getting ready to go into round 2 of this group. And I am joined here by Turtle.
Hello.
It's been a lot of fun this LAN, just seeing what everybody gets up to, because it's a lot of playing S3, but in interesting locations.
Yeah, I've seen people in the audience back there just turn some of the chairs around and just put their Switch propped up there so they can do anarchy battles or whatever.
You gotta be ready. I've seen some people doing table turf in the audience occasionally. Haven't actually tried that out myself yet, but I can't wait to. And up next, we've got Thembo IHOP versus Last Ditch Effort. And Thembo IHOP is always a fun team to see. They always run the interesting stuff.
Yeah, I've played with IHOP for a while or played against them, but they've always run really fun comps. Damp with the super chaotic brush is always amazing to watch, honestly.
Brush players are always a treat.
Yeah.
Always exciting to see where they choose to go and what they get up to. It's always a good time.
Yeah, for sure. So let's look at the maps we have here.
We've got TC Ancho up first.
Yeah, TC Ancho, overall, I'd say that map, you need something to displace the area that watches over the tower path. We like to call it the bats area.
Yes.
In callouts, usually. So usually you see teams with an inkjet or a slosher or something of that sort here to just get them out. Lately, I've seen less of that and just missiles to get people out, but I think that's going to be kind of the big focus.
You do have to clear out that area. It's also definitely a map where you will see actual anchors come in, which is a treat. You don't see those very often anymore, other than Jet. But sometimes you'll actually get to see a Charger or a Splatling as a treat. And this is a map that I've been on a few teams that have been we can do double Inkjet here because we'll have two people that like using Inkjet. And I'll just go, yeah, okay, that seems fun.
Yeah, I think well, you kind of have to push a certain way on this map. I think the fact that it's such a unique way you have to push the tower allows for new options.
Yeah, this and Inkblot are definitely the maps that you'll still see Inkjet the most on in my experience. And, of course, we're probably going to see some armor if Inkjets come out. Can't have an Inkjet without an armor.
Yeah, and of course we're going to see missiles because it's Splatoon 2.
It is.
You are going to see missiles in Splatoon 2.
It was wild watching Splatoon 3 yesterday because there are missiles, but people don't use them.
Yeah, it's so interesting because there were still a few flings I saw with missiles, but they had to play completely differently in Splatoon 3.
It is interesting. It's probably very interesting to be these players having to readapt to Splatoon 2 after playing. I'm assuming most people at this LAN not running on much sleep. Everyone's been grinding Splatoon 3. Everyone's been talking with friends, having fun. There's definitely not as much of a fire pit situation as there was at Low Tide City, but people are definitely still hanging out with their friends in their rooms and playing so much Splatoon 3.
Yeah, they've just been getting those squid rolls perfect, which they unfortunately cannot use in this game.
I'm sure at some point we'll just see somebody kind of randomly jump to the side and we'll be like, I see. You were attempting the impossible.
Yeah, I feel bad for all of the short-range weapon players and the blaster players in particular because it's so good for those weapons.
Well, to be fair, we're probably just not going to see blasters in Splatoon 2.
There's still a few blaster players. Bishop has been playing it this entire event. I don't know how he has, but good on him for that.
Willpower and determination.
Yeah.
It definitely will be exciting to see what Thembo IHOP brings out. I will expect Last Ditch Effort to get this be running Last Ditch Effort.
Yeah, probably at least a Junior or Zap or something with Last Ditch Effort. Maybe a K-Shot.
I mean, you can put Last Ditch Effort on anything, really.
Yeah.
Works on just about every weapon, and I don't expect that to change all that much in 3.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of players were surprised to see that Last Ditch Effort had no changes as an ability because it was so strong at the end of Splatoon 2 and contributed to a lot of the bomb and special spam because you were just constantly able to put out ink.
Endless ink. Junior can get double bomb with just Last Ditch Effort and no other sub-saver.
Machine 2 with Fizzy is so annoying to fight against.
Fizzy, I still can't believe that they gave Machine Fizzy again.
And an actual special this time.
Right? It's I don't know, Machine is just so strong now.
Yeah.
It was already strong in 2. They've made it stronger.
Yeah, I feel like what I love about Splat 3's balancing is it feels like everything's drawn.
Yeah.
More so than some weapons are, like, everything's kind of okay, is how I feel like Splat 2 is a lot of the time.
Well, and that's how we ended up with Zap and K-Shot is
yeah,
they're okay. They fit anywhere. And especially with how many pickups have been going on for the last half of Splatoon 2's lifespan, having weapons that just can fit into any comp without having to do extra work, it just flows very easily. Like, we were talking about this a little bit off screen. Weapons like Junior and Kunder or even 10, your teammates need to know how to play around.
Yeah.
A Zap? It's nice if they know how to play around it, but they don't need to.
Yeah, what I will say is nice is I've noticed a lot of players who have just been free agents for a while on pickups, or even players who have retired, coming back with looking for team posts.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see like a lot more team-based gameplay in Splatoon 3, which is really exciting to look forward to.
It's also been really exciting to see which top retired players come back. Like Soren's back. I didn't expect Soren to actually come back.
Yeah, and Zero is back.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so cool to see everybody. And like the fact that Alliance Rogue is like fully back is so cool.
Yeah. They were like a real mainstay in high level.
They were. I'm hoping that Brian, I'm a big EU fan in terms of like who I watch, and that'll show in what I say, sadly. But I'm really hoping that Brian, the drummer, manages to find a solid team for 3. He's always been like my favorite player to watch.
Yeah. I also think like it would be so amazing if Plantro comes back.
Yeah. Or Kaji?
Yeah. Like anyone from KP who isn't played right now.
Anyone
honestly.
besides Kipper and Gray. Not that we don't love Kipper and Gray. But,
yeah, they're great.
But we've seen them the whole time. They're not surprising. It'll be really cool to see who comes back. Especially because, like you said, everything feels better.
Yeah.
I played a decent bit of Heavy in 2, and it feels so much better in 3.
Yeah, I'm also hoping that we'll see more LANs for Splat 3. So far, we have like a lot, like with Riptide and then like the big house.
Yeah,
in, like,
it's so exciting that
month.
Splatoon 3 is going to be there.
Yeah.
And then I would assume that there's a decent chance we're back at low tide. But who knows? There might be something planned in between those things.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's probably going to be more LANs in Europe. Like,
I hope so.
lately we saw, I believe that was Arcadia in Germany.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
It's so nice to see Europe actually getting tournaments because Nintendo does not help them out super often with that.
Yeah, overall, I'm really looking forward to what everyone in the community brings for Splatoon 3, whether it's players, tournament organizers, everyone in between.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, at least for me, the way I got into competitive Splatoon 2 was watching LANs. So having people be able to go to LANs again like they couldn't for so much of Splatoon 2's lifespan makes a huge difference because LANs draw in more viewers, and I know it's how I found my way into comp.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw a LAN. I believe it was one of those Nintendo World Championships.
Oh, wow.
It was honestly so amazing because I knew Splatoon was a big game because it had 10 million sales, but I didn't realize how big and unified the competitive community was. So I think that really encouraged me to keep playing the game and get better.
I believe one of the first LANs I caught live was a Genesis where Ghost Gaming was there. Which it tracks considering that Brian is my favorite player. It's always, I don't know, it's just always interesting to hear how people ended up in comp. It's always so exciting because everyone has a different story. I mean, a lot of people say that SRB2 dude.
Yeah.
A decent number say Chugga Conroy, which is always fun.
Yeah, I think in Splat 3, we're honestly going to probably see a lot of new faces that get them into Splatoon. I think Pro Chara is going to get a lot of people into the game because he's been super consistent on his content lately.
Kiver probably will. Kiver's been putting out a lot. Very different content than Pro Chara, but a lot of it too. Brian's been putting out the same kind of content he's always done, which doesn't necessarily, it's what you watch once you're in comp.
Yeah, same with that SRB2 dude, but
that SRB2 dude tends to lean a little bit more towards casuals, though.
Yeah, but I think he is a really good transitioning point for the casual community into comp.
No, he's definitely in terms of like the tutorials and stuff he does. And I can't wait to see all of his patch note breakdowns again.
Yeah, those were so helpful to me as a player.
And here we are. We're going into TC Ancho here with Thembo IHOP against Last Ditch Effort version 2. Thembo IHOP bringing out that classic brush.
Umbrella!
And we are seeing Umbrella, which will work so much better for them on land than it would have online.
Yeah, there's still like some inconsistencies with things going around the shield with jumps, but Umbrella is so much easier to use on land. And it's a weapon that I think has been kind of hard to play in Splat 2 because it has like a very little range and it struggles against missiles, but I think it definitely can be a strong option.
And we are seeing Damp really moving in here, trying to find some picks, taking advantage of that brush's high mobility and just running around. I would be interested to hear Damp's thought on the brush with Killer Whale.
Yeah, that's definitely a strange pairing. IHOP is going to begin to push up using the rain to try to displace. Damp does go down, but they still have a solid hold of the front line and pick off the shot.
Yes, I will point out that there is a Heavy remix on the tower, which is always fun to see. Heavy is not a weapon we see a ton of these days, but will actually probably do very well against the Umbrella, and that is a triple coming out here, as that is just most members of both teams down. Just a bit of a free-for-all here. Samson trying to get some more points. Umbrella is managing to take them out with the help of that K-shot. Ramen moving in here to mid, getting on this fan, Umbrella moving in with them. They're doing a great job playing around the Umbrella, making sure that they're pairing up with them, which is very helpful for Umbrellas in my understanding.
Yeah, the Umbrella player has been doing a really good job making sure that they're always near teammates and getting chip damage in. That has really helped the Rapid and Shot in particular in getting the picks that they need.
And we are seeing this Umbrella once again moving up with that shot player, trying to clear up some space, not finding a ton yet, but they're able to keep holding this top area, although they do go down, which will make it way harder for the rest of their team to push in.
Yeah, Damp here just running into mid. I almost got the pick on the shot, but it got 2v1 by Last Ditch Effort. And IHOP is going to be pushed back a little here, but they do get one member of Last Ditch Effort, so they might stop their push soon.
We are seeing Kez here on this Umbrella using this bomb rush to force the Heavy Splatling back. Probably going to annoy the Brush some, but the Brush has enough mobility to not really need to pay attention to it. And they might be able to get lead here if they play this correctly, although there is a Booyah Bomb coming out, which will make it harder. It does force them off tower for a second.
Nearby,
yeah, the Baller did almost allow them to get lead there, but not quite.
Yeah, Last Ditch Effort with Umbrella on tower could be very scary for IHOP since you can't just shoot the Umbrella. Oh, they get the lead barely. Damp picks off the Umbrella, but not before it's too late for them to lose the lead.
And Damp trying to get the double here, able to find it. And moving in through this left side, moving in through this fan, actually. They have that armor at the ready. They have Rain at the ready. They have Booyah. They have missiles. This can be a huge push from Thembo IHOP. Missiles coming out to clear out that top area as Ink Armor comes out, allowing them to really move in here. And Samson doing a great job taking advantage of the fact that you can peek through those Great Summon and just apply a ton of pressure as they wait for the tower to catch up with them, although the Brush has gone down.
Yeah, what I liked about IHOP's push there, unfortunately the Brush went down, was they did pop all their specials at a different time, which makes it so each special is able to have its full impact. So I think that's really good coordination from IHOP. Unfortunately, because members do go down, really
Rapid
nice
getting great picks there. That was a triple from the Rapid as they're now dropping into mid, able to fully shut down Thembo IHOP's push. Rapid is so strong in that upper bats area and is so hard to move out of it without something like an Inkjet, although Rapids do also just kind of eat Inkjets for breakfast.
Yeah, also I think Rapid works really nicely with Last Ditch Effort's comp, the Umbrella providing chip damage, K-Shot also providing that, as well as
Junior.
A bomb and a missile. Junior too, yeah, lots of chip with that bomb.
Junior trying to do some aggressive little sneaky stuff. They're not quite managing to pull it off, but the Brush has gone down. Blaster getting into yet another pick on that CDS as Baller comes out chasing down that K-shot. Not quite able to get the pick on them with that Baller, and jumping out now just to stay alive a bit longer as Boing heads in towards that tower. Damp is trying to move up to help clear the path ahead of them as it's just the Junior above them. Now there's another there, but Damp taking advantage of the fact that they just have such high mobility, allowing them to get wherever they want to be, really.
Yeah, right here, IHOP has only a Booyah, and they are at a disadvantage, so it's going to be hard, but I think they might be able to squeeze out a lead here. They're approaching the checkpoint that they need to almost break to get the lead. Oh, they match 42.
They need 1 point,
but it's just
Damp is too far away
enough
from the tower. Damp doing a great job sharking here in mid, trying to find an easy pick to allow them to get their teammates in a little bit more easily. Might be just trying to get the tower. Oh, targeting that Brella, able to get the pick. Not quite able to get the blaster along with them, but taking out the Brella is huge against that comp.
Yeah, the Brella did do a good job trying to stall off to save the blaster, but unfortunately did go down in the process.
And
now IHOP has an advantage 3v2 situation. However, they need to take the plat very soon if they want to get the push in overtime. The clock is ticking right now.
Armor and missiles come out from Thembo IHOP. They have that Booyah ready, but they need somebody else to be ready to get on the tower to use that Booyah. All are popping a little bit early there from Dudelands, but it does not matter as they manage to get the pick on tower, as Blaster is just so good at poking tower, especially on a map like Ancho Games Tower Control.
Well, yeah, that was like such a back and forth game. The
yeah.
teams were within like 1 point of each other 3 times there. Like, wow.
Thembo IHOP did literally match the score of Splatoon 2, did not have a mechanic, along with Splatoon 3, where you go back a point if you match scored later. That would have been a full tie.
Yeah, that's like a lot of the time why you need to be really taking the initiative in opening, because even if you get the same quality push as the other team did, as we saw in that game, it's the first push that matters in who has the lead if it's a tie situation like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And next up, we're going to go to Rainmaker Blackbelly Skate Park.
Ooh.
I'll be interested to see if the heavy remix stays, or, well, if the heavy stays in general, and if they bring out a Stingray heavy.
Yeah, what's interesting about this map is I know a lot of teams like to play CJET here because it's considered one of the best Stingray maps because of how flat and open it is overall. But these teams have overall been running like really unique comps, not like the traditional quad shooter that we've seen for a lot of the end of Splatoon 2's lifespan. And
it's always so exciting to get to see Brella at a LAN because you know that, especially if they play Brella online a lot, they feel so free on LAN. They're not going to get randomly shot through their shield. Maybe above it or to the side of it, but not through it directly.
Yeah, I was considering playing Brella this tournament, but I'm like, I don't know if it's good enough to play. But honestly,
it probably is.
Seeing this Brella, I'm probably going to bring it out.
Yeah, it definitely functions from the Brella players I've talked to quite a bit better on LAN.
Yeah.
I played Kunder a little bit at Low Tide City, and wow, it felt better on LAN.
That is not a weapon you'd expect to have a huge land boost, but honestly, it makes sense if you think about it.
It still has to get out that shield.
Yeah.
And here we go. We are getting into the next game here of Rainmaker Blackbelly, a classic map that we've seen throughout a lot of the last bit of competitive Splatoon 2.
Yeah, we do see the Splat lane switch to a VJet for the double missiles for IHOP, and we see the Brella switch to a Kensa brush here.
I would like to point out here that Thembo IHOP is not running armor.
Yeah, I think their armor last time was from Damp,
but
Damp is switching to the brush with a lethal bomb. Oh, but 2 go down for IHOP already. The remaining 2 members have to back up. Last ditch effort is pushing them back, grabbing the Rainmaker.
And we are seeing Dudelands pushing up here with their 2 other teammates, everyone just trying to get further in. Although that miss from the jet is going to slow them down quite a bit, but the hammer coming out from the brush, they're able to do a ton to them. Brush managing to get a great pick there, although they do go down to the Rainmaker, but it did also get the ball array from the rest of their teammates, but it's just the K-shot up. CDS just respawned as their torps are causing quite a bit of problems here for Thembo IHOP.
Yeah, multiple go down. Silly, though, has to frontline with the Rainmaker, squeezes to 18 points. Really impressive score, especially for first minute of the game.
K-shot not able to shark there, so luckily for Thembo IHOP, they're probably not going to have to deal with anybody just waiting in a sneaky little position to get back into that Rainmaker. Missiles coming out from the K-shot from the jet, sorry, as they're moving back into mid here, and everyone's just getting ready for this pop.
Yeah, IHOP does get control of the middle of the map, and they are going to use 2 specials to try to break into last-ditch effort side. However, the hammer does come out trying to defend. Oh, gets Samson. Are they going to get more? Oh, gets the throw!
Although that mist is slowing them down a bit and trapping them on a side that's kind of inconvenient. And that is a delayed wipe onto the last-ditch effort as Thembo IHOP is trying to make a big push here. Although the Rapid is making it difficult for them as the CDS is pushing in. Rainmaker trying to apply some additional pressure, but not able to do much. Able to hit another direct. Rainmaker does go down, but there are still 2 up there. And it looks like the K-Shot and Jet are able to get some good picks. K-Shot getting popped! And this might be lead, and they managed to get lead, and that is a push all the way to 5. And I will point out that Thembo IHOP, having missed in a situation like this when they are getting pushed back out, will allow them to be able to defend really easily for the rest of the game. Although 3 minutes to defend on Blackbelly Rainmaker is a lot, as this map is known for temperamental pushes.
However, I will say I don't quite remember the gear abilities of Last Ditch Effort, but if they do live up to their name, they will have...
They actually only have 2 mains. They only have 2 people running Last Ditch Effort right now, while Thembo IHOP has everybody, so they also have full LDE right now.
Yeah, so we're going to see probably a lot more special output because the players are able to use their main weapons more now that last-ditch effort is activated for both teams.
Junior has that armor ready, probably going to hold off on that until the missiles are ready from the K-Shot. We are seeing the Jet looking for missiles. We are seeing the K-Shot trying to get missiles almost at range from that CDS as everybody's trying to move in here on the side of last-ditch effort. I will say that that might have thrown them for a bit of a loop for that push to go that quickly out of Thembo IHOP. I know that that can definitely throw everyone's mental a little bit off.
Yeah, Rainmaker often can steamroll really fast because you can push it pretty much as fast as you can swim to the opponent's base. It's not like tower control, for example, where you have to wait for the tower to go on the path.
There's also not checkpoints in it in this game, which is a big change for Splat 3.
Yeah, I think that overall will make the mode a lot more easy to get back in situations like 3 downs, like the one where IHOP got their push to 5.
Yeah, and we are seeing Boing just staying on that left side there, trying to make sure that they have specials ready. Missiles coming out from the side of last-ditch effort. So is armor. They're probably going to try and make a big push out of this, considering that they also have hammer and ball already, which will probably be used to try and clear a path for the Rainmaker.
Oh, the missiles do shred that baller, though. Players going down on both sides. IHOP seems to be at a slight advantage here in a 3v2, but Kez is going to pick off the dualies and get out of there.
Yes, and we are seeing that the Jet Squelcher is hanging back quite a bit right now, making sure that they are the last line of defense, although they are still pretty far up. That being said, they're taking advantage of the fact that Jet Squelcher does also have a main weapon, something not everyone who plays it does.
Yeah, right here, specials being charged for both teams. Missiles do come out for last-ditch effort. Oftentimes, missiles are the first special pop to try to break apart the enemy team's front line, so I think that's last-ditch effort indicating that they are ready to push up, and we see other specials coming in to support the missiles.
Oh, and that is a great splashdown coming out of Damp. Not a special that you get to see do its job all that often, but when it does, it's always exciting.
Yeah, the hammer there was trying to block the splashdown, but unfortunately that's a really precise timing you need with the hammer swing to be able to do that. That was not matched there.
And we are seeing just those bombs being rolled in there by the CDS, just preventing the Rainmaker, just saying, hey, you actually can't go down this way at all, even if you want to. And now they're stuck in a do not retreat, which means that their timer is going down even faster, and there they go.
Yeah, good job, though, by last-ditch efforts. Stayed away from that Rainmaker, making sure they don't get caught in that explosion. However, they are 2 down right now. Kez is going to try to protect the Rainmaker, but can't back up too far for the don't retreat timer. Nice pick on Samson there, keeping the Rainmaker alive. However, the rain and missiles coming out, forcing the Rainmaker into a really ugly corner, and that's going to be the game.
And we are seeing Thembo IHOP popping off a little bit on stage, having a great time up there, as they did manage to win that game very decisively.
Yeah, both of these teams have been super energetic. Like, I have heard them yelling all the way from the other side of the room at the commentary booth here. Really exciting to hear that, honestly.
Yeah, it's always really fun to see. Like, you know that people are being loud in VCs and stuff during online tournaments, but getting to see it in person, getting to see all of them feed off of each other's energy is so, so cool.
Yeah, I'd argue people are louder at LANs than online because they don't have to worry about things like siblings or roommates or parents. They can just, like, yell because they know that Splatoon players aren't going to judge them for that.
Well, it's also that, but also you've played at a LAN before.
Yeah.
You understand that, like, when you're playing, you feed off of your teammates' energies. You can, like, I don't know, it's electric.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to a live concert, sort of, and everyone's just in the moment.
Yeah, it's like you're kind of in a trance almost of Splatoon.
I would like to point out here the second spin on objective, and even though last-ditch effort distinctly had the objective way more, that doesn't matter so much in Rainmaker.
Yeah, I think a lot of last-ditch effort's Rainmaker objective time was just them making sure the Rainmaker was still alive. Like, they would back up in cases where IHOP would just leave the Rainmaker and run forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely a person who believes in never backing up with the Rainmaker, but that is to each their own.
Yeah, I think it really depends on playstyle. I think last-ditch effort with, like, the brush, sharking, and the Brella plays a lot more around defending teammates than IHOP, which I think is why they back it up.
Yes.
And I think that's had, well, they didn't win the game. I think it's had pretty good results as a strategy.
It definitely worked well on tower control.
Yeah.
It's just always, and here we go. We are on to the next map here of Clamblets on Snapper Canal. Another staple from many Splatoon 2 tournaments.
Yeah, we're going to see IHOP stick with the Jet, and the K-Gal comes out instead of the K-Shot for last-ditch effort, as well as the switch to the Inkjet brush here from Kez.
Yeah, and we are actually seeing the baller brush coming out here. Boing really, not Boing, the brush player just really taking advantage of the fact that they can use all the different variants.
Yeah, it's also really interesting to see IHOP has been sticking, not really relying on armor like a lot of teams do in Splatoon 2. Damp has just kind of played whatever brush they think makes the most sense for their playstyle.
Absolutely, and it's really awesome to see that mist coming out here from the Jet, allowing them to just keep holding down this street for a bit longer, although they are eventually forced to back out, but the K-Gal is down. Kez trying to get some clams. Not able to find a ton right there, though, as Samson is able to make a power here, looking for space to move in. Can't quite find it yet, but they are getting decently close to those missiles, considering that they're a K-shot. And that is the Rapid going down, and they're able to just go in without needing to use the missiles.
Miss.
Oh, but they do miss. But the Jet's there to follow that up, able to play a little bit of cleanup, although this probably won't be a very big push as to the brush, as there are not a ton of clams there, and it's just the brush up, and the Rapid manages to pick them off.
Yeah, right there at the end of the push, 2 members of IHOP were trying to back up, unfortunately couldn't. I think that 2-down situation could allow last-ditch effort to go for a really nice counter push, especially considering that IHOP's push didn't really score that much.
Although we do see the K-Gal go down already, which they're probably relying on pretty heavily to get in, because their Octobrush is looking more to skirmish, and the Rapid is more poking.
Oh, no, the missiles catching the Junior trapped in the retreat of the brush.
It is just a bloodbath right now. Teams getting trade for trade, essentially, as the Rapid is trying to move in here, able to get the power in. CDS trying to get the pick on them. Can't quite find it yet. They do manage to take out the CDS. This could be big here, although they are forced to look at other things as the brush is doing brush things.
Yeah, what? Oh, all of the members of Last Ditch Effort, except for the Junior at the end there, stayed alive. That allowed them to keep the push going a little bit, but unfortunately for them, IHOP was able to respawn and push them out as a unified team.
They do have a pity now. They are getting close to a power. They have 20 clams at the ready, even without the pity, and they are getting close to missiles. Brush has that baller. They might try and do a baller jump in, which was something that we saw a lot of back in 2018. Baller coming out, missiles coming out.
They do not have a power ready, though, so I think there's some power for me. But I think the baller was mostly used to break in, and it worked quite successfully as they have a solid lead right now.
They do. That's actually a very solid push. Definitely not an unbeatable push, but very solid. CDS managing to get a great pick there on the K-Gal before backing off very smartly, knowing that Rapid causes quite a few problems for them being of similar ranges and hitting around those walls.
Yes, the CDS picks off the Rapid there. Unfortunate for the Rapid that CDS was just barely in the range to kill, but we are going to see 2 specials on the ready for last-ditch effort, so they very well could start a push soon.
Although taking out the Octobrush there was a huge, huge pick for that K-shot, even though it was a trade. And it is just the Junior up. This could be a push here out of Thembo IHOP.
Yeah.
Although the Junior does manage to get a pick, AJ is moving in here, able to form a power using the clams that were there. That is the reason that a lot of, not a lot of teams, but some teams do lock clam pods in Splatoon 2.
Yeah, also another thing that's interesting about getting power clams is those count as only 1 clam versus if you have 9 clams, that's 9 clams your team has. So actually, if you form power clams, it's easier for clams to spawn in the future. Also, really nice Inkjet double by Kez there.
Absolutely.
Setting up last-ditch effort for what seems to be a score. However, unfortunately, they do miss that power. They get it back in, though.
Snapper Canal is definitely the map where I see people other than the Reef miss the most power clams. The 2 maps that are definitely hardest to get clams in on from what everyone's seen.
Yeah, I think the fact that the basket is elevated makes it like a very misleading angle to score in.
And we are seeing this Ink Brush here taking advantage of the baller to just squish that K-Gal. Jet Squelcher moving in, taking advantage of those missiles, allowing the Brush to try and move in a bit further. Brush does go down, but they did manage to force everybody back to spawn quite a bit. And there are just 40 seconds left in this game, and Thembo IHOP has a pretty decisive lead. It's Clam Blitz like Rainmaker, so anything can kind of happen, but they have another power at the ready. The Brush has gone down, but they are close to a couple other specials, so they're probably just going to hold this off, play safe, play smart. They know that Last Ditch Effort doesn't have a power, so they're able to just kind of chill a little bit as the K-shot does go down.
Yeah, Last Ditch Effort did form a power, and it seems they are moving into the street. Baller going in. Oh, nice job popping the baller before they were in range to score off of the shred. It's just 2 members up for last-ditch effort. They really are going to need a last-ditch effort to save the power clamp here because if the power despawns, then that's going to be the end of overtime for them.
And there is a mist on that. There is a mine on that. So even if they get to it, it would have been a nightmare to try and move it.
Yeah, really good job there by IHOP, knowing the objective they needed to win the game. And you can hear the pop-off, I'm sure, on stream there.
And you can see it. The camera's on them right now. They are having, it seems like Thembo IHOP is having a great time on that stage. I'm sure most teams here are having a great time. Most of the time, teams aren't too worried about necessarily playing their best at Splatoon lands, in my experience.
That was such a clean handshake, by the way.
Absolutely.
Like, wow.
It was really good. They've got to have practiced it.
Yeah, IHOP, I think both of these teams definitely have really good synergy with each other, whether it's in-game or in person. Like, you can tell that they just enjoy being around each other, and I think that's really awesome to see at events like this because I think at LANs, you really get to know your teammates a lot more than you would if you were just playing online with them.
Yeah, it's so cool to, I mean, you're usually stuck in the room with them. Yeah. So there's forced team bonding and for fun team bonding.
Yeah.
Multi-purpose. Our next game is going to be Splat Zones on Macomart, a map that I think favors aggressive weapons quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely a fan favorite for a lot of players in Splatoon 2. I think what's great about Macomart is it just allows a lot of weapons that can struggle on a lot of other maps. Like, sloshers are really good with all of the ledges that Macomart has. For example, I see a lot of rollers and brushes have a great time here. Just really flexible map overall.
Definitely a good carbon map. Don't see carbons very often, but it's definitely a good carbon map. Also, Keishin loves it here.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see one just based off the weapons we've seen, but it is a weapon that truly loves this map, and we do see this map returning in Splatoon 3.
Speaking of returning, Splatling does come back for Thembo IHOP.
I think that the Splatling will have
comes back for last-ditch effort.
I will say that I think the Splatling against the Brella, it does allow their team to be able to pressure that Brella a lot more because Splatlings do just shred things. They don't care.
Yeah, Brella shield can stall it out for a bit, but it has to basically hold the shield up the whole time. If they drop it for a second, the Splatling is going to shred them.
And even then, they'll probably shred the shield if they hold it up the whole time.
Yeah.
And we are seeing that Heavy getting close to Booyah, missiles ready on the side of Last Ditch, and we are seeing all specials ready on the side of Thembo, so they're probably going to try and push this pretty soon. Booyah coming out, damp in this zone, causing some chaos. Baller coming out, forcing the last-ditch effort off the zone. They did pop that Splat Bomb Rush, but I don't think it's going to be able to do a ton. As Damp manages to get the pick and get away, which I was not expecting. I was fully expecting them to die to that bomb.
Yeah, brushes are overall really good at getting out of situations where a lot of weapons would just be stuck because you could just roll around with it really easily.
We are seeing missiles coming out again here from Thembo IHOP, able to keep just holding their street. It's like, you wanted to have your own spawn? I guess you don't. Mako is definitely a map known for spawn camping and comp, and definitely for good reason. It's very easy to get in, and it's pretty easy to get out if you need to survive. Brush forcing the K-shot to back off there. Boing applying a lot of pressure using that Heavy. Booyah coming out again. Brush has gone down, although there's only 30 ticks left on the timer, and Boing is solo missile being forced off of that stack. They would like their stack back, it turns out.
Yeah, just the Splatling trying to hold it down. Splatling is one of the strongest weapons.
Oh!
The triple!
And Boing getting an incredible triple, just applying so much pressure, able to just maintain that, and you did get to see them pop off. And Boing just saying, no, we're winning this set. This is where we're drawing the line. And let's go, Boing.
Wow.
Just an incredible game there. Boing really showing the power of a Heavy Splatling, not a weapon that we get to see enough of, in my opinion, and I'm so excited to get to see it thrive like that. It truly just shreds whatever it wants to.
Yeah, what I was about to say is Splatling is one of the best weapons at holding situations like this, but I don't think it's going to be able to hold a 1v3 like this. But it was able to.
Heavy in the right circumstance can hold whatever it wants. If they have a charge ready and you run at them, you're going to get shredded.
Yeah, what's interesting about Heavy is people think of it as a long-range weapon, but
it plays like a midline.
Yeah, it does so much DPS that a lot of players play it in really aggressive positions and are able to hold their own against front lines, as we saw there from Boing.
To throw back a little bit to Kraken Paradise days, Kaji always played heavy Splatling like it was a true midline. And I remember that before Remix, they would sometimes bring out heavy Deco, and they would just use those walls and bubbles to stall wherever they wanted to be. You could not force them out of positions.
Yeah, I also remember a lot of ballpoint players, like Zay, for example, would play super aggressive, almost like it was a Kensa Pro or something.
Well, especially back then before ballpoint nerfs.
Yeah.
It was, fun fact, ballpoint's never been buffed. Ballpoint came into the game like that. They put vanilla ballpoint in there, and everyone just ignored it until Nouveau. But vanilla ballpoint was good the whole time.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see weapons that people don't realize are good until pretty late in the game. Like, I feel like Tent was like that, where people just...
Tent got a lot of buffs before it was used.
But what happened was people buffed its shield, made it so... Or Nintendo made it so its shield released faster.
Yes.
And people are like, why would I want this? I want my shield to be able to stay open so I can stall off opponents. But it turned out that like buff made Tent into like a completely broken weapon.
I remember the first time I saw Tent in an actual tournament game was on Wahoo World, and it was just so wild to watch it just completely neutral Wahoo by just sending, I think they ran 2 Tents, so they would just send the Tent shields both in and just like make a little X across the zone.
Yeah, overall, there's a lot more options than you think are available in Splatoon because there's just so many weapons in this game, and Splatoon 3 is also exciting because there's so many more available.
And also, I will say, as much as people are like, shooters are the only strong thing in Splatoon 2, that's not entirely true. I think you can make I think 2 is a well enough balanced game that you can make just about anything work. The problem is it's so balanced that shooters being just the most innately balanced weapon class just kind of thrive.
I think that set was like a really good example of how other classes are more than viable in Splatoon 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it's a little late to be bringing this up considering most people probably aren't going to play it again for a few years. Probably a year. People will probably jump back in like a year and be like, oh, what was this like again? Oh, yeah, missiles and armor.
Yeah, I remember Splatoon 1 was like that, and they were like, oh yeah, invincibility specials, that's what I didn't like.
And then everyone goes back, and it's like, those are kind of fun, though.
Yeah.
It's fun in hindsight. It's not fun when it's all you have.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool to be here watching people have fun with Splatoon 2. As much as people are like, the game's not that fun. I mean, we're all here for a reason. We all must like it somewhat.
I think like Splatoon 2, what's also really cool about this event is it's just kind of a culmination of everything these players have done throughout the years. Like, a lot of players here have just played so many weapons. It's just so interesting to see how they changed as a player and developed.
Absolutely. It's definitely a goodbye, which is... It's a goodbye to Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
It's interesting to be here for it. It's not a very sad goodbye, to be fair. We're very, very much more excited about Splatoon 3, but it is in its own way a goodbye.
Yeah, I think, like, as soon as I get home from Riptide, I'm just going to be, like, in Splatoon 3 tournament mode, just with my online team, just like, okay, what weapons are we running? Let's figure this out.
I'm gonna be a bit of a gremlin about Splatoon 3 when I get home.